One day I will be able to tell Tim Burton to his face just how spectacular he is. Until that day arrives, however, I'm quite happy to gush about the fact that Dumbo was amazing. Now, despite the fact that I do absolutely love Tim Burton, and maybe a little bit biased because I'll always see positives in his films, I think there are genuine factors that make Dumbo, the latest Disney live action, something worth watching. I have a very odd relationship with live action Disneys because I kind of feel like they're unnecessary, but at the same time some of them have actually turned out to be quite spectacular, and Dumbo is no exception. Obviously this is directed by Tim Burton, and one of the things that I find is consistent with Burton films is the quality of the editing. Right from the start, from the title sequence, I thought this film was just stunning, gorgeous. There's always something going on. The camera angles that are used are incredible, especially when we're kind of looking up at Dumbo or we're looking down from Dumbo's perspective. I think there's a lot to really draw you in and make you feel part of the film. Naturally, with a Disney live action, we're going to have quite a powerful cast. And for me, I mean, the cast all around, brilliant, acting fantastic, the acrobats were amazing, but for me the highlights, the standouts were Danny DeVito and Eva Green, and I feel like Eva Green is the new Tim Burton must. Obviously, the costumes were done by Colleen Atwood. They are stunning. They're not always as spectacular as I thought for some of the circus scenes, but they're still very eye-catching. And some of the kind of poorer costumes looked absolutely incredible as well, and it's a great contrast between realism and kind of circus life. And of course, the music was done by Danny Elfman. Oh my goodness, this is probably one of my favourite Tim Burton soundtracks. For me, I actually preferred the music to the visuals a lot of the time, and I'm a visual person. Music I'm not that knowledgeable about, I'm not that good with. But for me, I was more taken away by the music than I was the visuals, so that has to say something about how good the soundtrack is. So the narrative itself is very emotional, and that's always going to be the case with Dumbo. Dumbo is now a flying elephant in a circus, but he misses his mama, and there's a bid to try and get him reunited with his mother. He's also bringing in money to the circus because he's a phenomenon. And the narrative, the main thing with Dumbo is the fact that it will make you well up, it will make you cry. It is easily one of Disney's most emotional, upsetting, poignant stories there is. I thought the pacing of the narrative was really good. There was never a moment where I thought this is dragging. It wasn't constant full attention, it wasn't this happened, this happened, this happened. There were moments where it was a little bit slower, but it wasn't in a negative way, because when the narrative wasn't developing as quickly, there was something really powerful going on the screen to look at, so I never felt bored. But there were times where I felt like maybe you could have kind of squished down about 10 minutes of the film. Fantastic dichotomy of bright and dark in this film. That's always going to be the case when you have an emotional film set in a circus. The circus is bright, fantastic, full of lights and charisma. Dumbo is being exploited, and that's very emotional and very upsetting. The other thing with this, which is I think intentional, is that it's very claustrophobic a lot of the time, where a lot of it is obviously set inside this circus tent, and first of all I'm terrified of circles and I believe I have claustrophobia, so for me it was like, alright, this is kind of intimidating, and I think that might be a problem for a lot of younger viewers who may find that quite scary. But there's no reason why it shouldn't have done that. It's very effective. And then there are points when it's not so claustrophobic, and that kind of goes with the narrative weave of the story, and just the visuals are completely married with the narrative's completely married with the music. Everything connects. Not only do I not have any complaints about Dumbo, but I have a lot of praise for it. Yes, a little bit biased, but I do think it's one of Disney's finest live actions, and I do think they're getting better. I think The Lion King looks amazing, and I can't wait to see it. And as we progress with Disney live actions, they do seem to be getting more powerful. Obviously, Tim Burton was the perfect choice for this. I cannot think of anybody who could have done a more amazing job. If you haven't seen it, if you're on the edge, if you're thinking, Disney live action, really, definitely go and see it.